Hi guys, it is Dani and welcome to this updated video on Major Hurricane Melissa, a devastating, record-breaking Category 5 monster which takes aim at Jamaica. So in this video I will be covering the latest for the system. Disclaimer, you may notice that I sound a bit different and this whole video presentation is a bit different. I'm making a couple of changes here in a way that's most efficient to me, also integrating some new features which I hope will be helpful for you, especially when I'm referring to something on your screen. So here we can see this massive hurricane and all of these different colors here. Now these colors are to show the temperature of cloud tops. And as we see more of, especially these darker colors going to the gray and even that purple in the mix, extremely high clouds with very cold temperatures. These are the highest and often contain the most moisture. So we find the worst of impacts associated as we see more of those colors on screen. So the system is moving very slowly, and here we can see that well-defined eye of it. It's been loitering around for some time. We've been tracking Melissa for a very, very long time, and now impacts are going to be closing in on Jamaica. Historic impacts at that. As I've been reiterating in my videos, the last major hurricane landfall here was Gilbert back in 1988. So it's been 37 years, and we're about to face another one of those hits. And the hit that we're going to face from Melissa will be worse than Gilbert. Now here we're going to be looking at the track of the system, the updated forecast track here from the National Hurricane Center. So as of 11 a.m. Eastern, Melissa has maximum sustained winds up to 165 miles per hour, and it is moving to the west at 3 miles per hour. So it's not moving very quickly. Matter of fact, it's slowed a little bit since my previous update, and it's also preparing to make that curve. So it is going to be moving up to the north and then more to the northeast. And landfall is anticipated in Jamaica as we're going to be headed into early tomorrow morning along the southwestern coast. But let's not focus on where landfall is going to be, because dangerous, life-threatening impacts will be occurring island-wide. So if you're not getting the extreme winds, it's likely to be extreme rain. And coastal areas, especially along the south coast, are going to be flooded, not necessarily because of the rain, but because of the winds of Melissa pushing the waters of the Caribbean Sea onshore, which is what we call storm surge, likely to be over 10 feet at maximum above regular sea level. So it's going to be very significant and very dangerous. No one should be along the southern coast right now. And we also see these colorful shadings here. That red highlight indicating the hurricane warning in effect for Jamaica, as well as Cuba, eastern Cuba. Slightly west of that warning area is a tropical storm warning. And then we also see Haiti in the blue shading, which indicates that tropical storm warning. So this also goes to show that we don't always need a direct hit for there to be dangerous impacts, because look at how far Melissa's center is located in comparison to Haiti. Yet still, it's been producing tropical storm impacts far and wide. And then we see the pink shading. We see the central Bahamas, southern Bahamas, and even the Turks and Caicos Islands in that color, indicating a hurricane watch. So hurricane conditions will be possible as we head into Wednesday evening. Now, once Melissa makes landfall in Jamaica tomorrow, it's going to slightly weaken, maybe down to a Category 4 system. But then it will emerge back into the Caribbean waters and make a second landfall on Cuba, maybe early Wednesday morning. And then by Wednesday evening, it will be within the vicinity of the Bahamas. So it will also be gradually making its way out at a quicker rate. It's been moving very slow, and it was also initially moving very erratic. But now we're pretty much locked in with that regarded track of the system. And it is even seen here on this graphic. So this is showing all of our different models, and we can see them tightly packed. They're pretty much locked in with that landfall in southwestern Jamaica early tomorrow morning. Now, as I mentioned, it is going to be weakening after making landfall, and the reason that happens is because of the fact that it is cut off from its source of fuel and energy, which is those very warm waters of the Caribbean Sea. So there has been a lot of intensification primarily because of that, and not just the fact that the waters are warm at the surface, but far beneath the surface. So it's like all of that fuel is just coming up and just pushing Melissa to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Even though it may weaken to a Category 4 hurricane after hitting Jamaica before it emerges back into the Caribbean Sea, we are still seeing here, based on this wind scale, the damage would be catastrophic. So Category 3, 4, 5, that is major hurricane range, and it's not going to be much of a significant difference either in regards to the impacts, even though Melissa would have slightly weakened. So a very dangerous situation is impending for the island of Jamaica. So if you're not getting the extreme winds, it's going to be the rain. And as it relates to the rain totals here, in Jamaica there could be rain amounts up to 30 inches, possibly higher in a couple spots. And for other areas, go into the westernmost section of Westmoreland and even Hanover, rain amounts up to 8 inches in a couple of spots. That is still flood triggering rain, significant rainfall. So in those low-lying areas, those flood-prone spots, it is going to be getting very, very dangerous with those water levels rising quickly as the heavy downpours are going to be starting out. So as we head into later today is when impacts are likely to begin across the island and be very significant. They're likely already started, but they'll be intensifying as time goes by. So there's literally no going back now. Melissa is a very powerful hurricane, so no going back. Once those impacts start, once the dangerous weather starts moving in, it's not going to be out until Melissa makes her way out and up to the northeast. One of the things I also want to point out is that the storm surge, which is Melissa's winds, causing the coastline to be inundated. For now, it's going to be the south coast. But we want to take into consideration how the winds in a tropical cyclone rotate. They rotate in a counterclockwise fashion. So the strongest winds associated with Melissa, as I mentioned, they are around the eye, which is called the eye wall. Now imagine the eye being just offshore after Melissa would have made landfall. Let's say it's going to be around here, right? We're still going to be having those counterclockwise winds that will be very strong, likely at Category 4 intensity. So at that time, the storm surge is going to be affecting the northern coast of Jamaica. So that is also something I want to point out to you guys, that eventually the north coast will be impacted by that. There's going to be very large waves offshore as well. And then that threat of storm surge will be moving towards Cuba as the system nears. So it's going to be a very difficult time for Jamaica. We're going to be dealing with a hurricane that has never been at an intensity of any hurricane in the past. So that's never been in our record books. Melissa is likely to be the first. So we just have to stay safe, guys. You can also let me know what the conditions are like for your area. As for me, I'm located in the northwestern part of Jamaica. So we've been getting some gusty winds at times, nothing very crazy, and the weather has also been quite fair. So it's been overcast. Persons are finalizing their preparations. Some persons are drilling, knocking, battening down as we prepare to anticipate the worst from Major Hurricane Melissa. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys. And please, please, my fellow Jamaicans, please be safe and do not take any unnecessary risks. This is a life-threatening situation. Do not listen to what a lot of persons are saying. Just because nothing may be happening doesn't mean that nothing is coming. Melissa is taking her own sweet time, and nature respects no one. This is why we have to make the necessary preparations ahead of it to ensure that we can safely ride out the storm. So once I'm able to update you, I will. But that's it for now, and I do hope you found this video to be informative. If you have any questions, though, you can feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll get to you when I can. And remember to always be weatherwise.